So a lot of people have asked me to teach them how to create mind maps. And I wanted to show you that it's actually very simple. And once I learned how to create mind maps, like the entire way I organize information in reality has changed. I only wish I would have been taught this in kindergarten because it really would have helped me organize information. So you can use a mind map for anything. What it is it becomes a framework through which you can make sense of information. If you have an idea, it could be a business idea, it could be planning a party, it could be a blog post, writing a book, it could be anything. And what you can do is create a mind map to take all that information that's spinning in the field and take it and put it into a framework that you can actually use and see clearly the idea and communicate the idea clearly and know what steps to take on the journey to bringing this idea into reality, into the physical reality. So I absolutely love mind maps. I do them for all the things listed that I just listed, but I also do them at the beginning of the year. So what I like to do is sort of map out the year and put my intentions and my goals in a variety of different ways. So it all gets mapped out so that when I go to reflect on my year, I can see how that played out in my life. It's really fun to create a blueprint for the year and then look at it at the end of the year and then kind of see how the information bridged itself as it played out in your reality. And you can kind of extract the wisdom and the information from your past and from the experience of living that year. So I got out my whiteboard here and I'm going to show you a very basic mind map. So two things I love. Number one is this book, Mind Map Book by Tony Buzan and Barry Buzan. The two guys are brothers. One's more logical science mind and one's a little more creative minded. So the whole book is about bridging the gap between the left and the right brain and creating something quite beautiful like a flower, just like nature. So we're learning how to mirror nature when we create mind maps. Another book I got out when I was thinking of creating this video is this one, Laws of the Sun, because the sun is a mind map. Think about it. It's a central point and the planets orbit around it. So there's energy that's going around this circle, this point. And yeah, the symbol of a circle and a dot, of course, that's in my logo because it helps me stay focused and on target around the business that I'm creating. And I also use the circumpoint in a lot of my artwork. Here's my favorite thing, right? This piece of artwork, this chalice, actually has the 7 Hermetic principles. And I would say that these are the laws that govern reality. And my favorite is the external ring, which says care. C-A-R-E, C-A-R-E, C-A-R-E. And why is that the circle around all of this? Because that which we care about will grow. So yeah, we can have ideas all day, every day, but if we don't actually give our most valuable assets, our time and attention to something, then we don't actually care about it. And guess what? It won't exist. It won't come into reality. So all of creation starts with what I would say is a sacred geometric blueprint. And we can start to identify what that blueprint is for your idea by creating a mind map. Sorry, I'm really wound up because I'm just so excited to teach this. And I don't normally drink coffee. And I had coffee today and I shouldn't have, but I drove my son to the airport and Starbucks just smells so good and it's so cozy. And so I got a coffee and I also got the portobello mushroom egg bites, which are really good. So I'm going to show you a mind map and we're going to create a mind map about mind maps. So it's like we're going in the inception. We're going within a portal, a mind map portal. So we're going to start with the central idea, which is what we're talking about today, which is mind map. So we're going to write that in the middle. And I like to draw a circle around the central point. My favorite thing to do when I start to create a mind map is I look at my hand And my hand has 5 fingers. So I'm like, okay, let's go into 5 components of the mind map because it reminds me of how reality is created, right? So we have earth, well, reality in this realm. We have earth, air, fire, water. And number 5 is ether. Anyway, so I like to start with 5. You got to start somewhere. You can make a mind map with 3, with 10, with however many numbers you want, but I find 5 is a good way to stay focused and to feel like you're not getting too much off into the weeds. So, what is a mind map? I will say it's a tool to organize info. I would also say they're beautiful. I would also say a framework. I would also say it's a guide. And the last thing I would say is it's divine. All right, so we got our first 5. I want to actually get a different color because, oh, I don't even think you can see it. So give me a second. Get another color. Okay. Yay for mind maps. Hopefully it's not too glary. And I know my hair is messy. I went to the sauna just now and messy hair don't care. And I was just dripping and my heart was racing and I was like, oh my gosh, I'm doing a lot of cleansing work here. And it felt really good to do that. And then I did the cold plunge. Whew. So when you do the cold plunge, you have to make sure you put your mind here on the shelf because your mind is, and I guess it's your ego too. Your mind and your ego are going to be like, what are you doing? I don't want to do that. That's cold. That's terrible. That's uncomfortable. Don't do it. But your higher self or your God source connected Christ consciousness self knows that there's something really powerful that happens to your body when you do that. And so you put your mind on the shelf and you're like, I can do this because God slash higher self, me, is in charge. And you go into the cold plunge and you stay there as long as you can. And then there's a little bit of resistance and then you do it anyway. So that's why I feel good and pretty jacked right now. Okay, so here's a mind map. We broke it into 5 sections, which are hard to read, but I will say them when we talk about them. Okay, so it's a tool to organize information. So what we're going to do with each of these is I can do another circle. Yay, we just got the chapters within the mind map archetype. So now we have 5 chapters. Okay, and just like the sun, these radiate from the central point, and their mission and their whole purpose in life and their whole divine pull is around the sun. Okay, so a tool to organize information. So what we do with each of these points that spring from the central point is they actually have branches and pieces of information and layers of knowledge that will reveal themselves when you give your attention to them. So we're going to talk about a tool to organize information. That's all we're going to focus on. Okay, what is a tool to organize information? It makes life easier. Makes life easier. A tool, in this case, it makes things more clear. Clarity. It brings peace to me. When I know I have a tool like this and I don't have to struggle in the chaos, I'm going to say there's peace. What I also love about mind maps is, words are one way to communicate information, but another way is with drawings. Because think about it, words are not necessarily information. Information is data taking formation, and you can do that with images. So I'm going to draw a peace sign. So when I look at my mind map, there's going to be some drawings too. So drawings contain information as well as colors, right? If there was a ton of bursts of yellow on my mind map, then that would actually communicate something too. It would be communicating on a subconscious level, but once you make the subconscious conscious, you'll see that there's a whole lot of information that is being revealed to you. So it's not just words, colors and images as well. Okay, so there's a couple branches off that one. I think that's great. Okay, mind maps are beautiful. I love talking about this one. And notice I'm doing blue for the next layer of information just to keep it organized. So beautiful. That reminds me of nature. Reminds me of flowers. What is beautiful? I'd say beautiful is also orderly. Although sometimes messy things are really beautiful too. In this case, we're going to go with orderly. Beautiful. Oh, it can be colorful, right? Beautiful. I love creating beautiful things. Anything else? Mind maps. Beautiful. I'm going to say fun, right? This is way more fun creating a mind map than taking notes for a boring lecture on just like a boring piece of paper in my handwriting. I would much rather go to a lecture. Okay, what's the central point? You know, maybe it's the title of the lecture, or maybe I'm picking the central point on my own. And then as the lecturer is speaking, you're like, okay, what's the 5? Right? It doesn't have to be 5, but I love working with 5. Okay, branches off in here, 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 and here. Anyway, it's fun. It's way more fun than just writing notes. Okay, let's move on. The word is framework. Wow, I love framework. You know what? It sounds like it's a contradiction, but I love the word freedom with the word framework. I'll explain in a sec. Freedom. So I actually think chaos is information out there scattered, not really being able to pull into some vortex or some circumpunct or central point. So when we start to create frameworks, to me, there is a form that the expression of this divine blueprint can come through and express through, right? It's kind of like having a flute. It's like, yeah, we got air, but when we push that air through a flute and we play with the different holes, we can actually create a variety of beautiful things. And to me, this isn't that different. The idea's there, the information's there. We could be sitting through meetings and all kinds of stuff. But what happens is the idea wants to be born, and it needs to be born through a framework. And I think that's where sacred geometry comes in and how it relates to this reality. Anyway, frameworks remind me of freedom. They also remind me of, I'm going to say order. I know we already put that in another one. I would also say expression. Once we have that framework, I can start to see how the expression wants to come through. So, framework. I'm going to say linear too, because EAR. I say linear because in this reality, we do like to measure things, and we do work with the months and the days and hours and all that. So when I start breaking things into a framework, the linear progression can be more easily perceived. All right, next one is the word guide. I love that. So for guide, I'm going to put direction. I'm going to put the word compass. I'm going to put the word map. I'm going to put confidence. When you have a guide or some kind of map, it shows you where to go. That gives you confidence. So yes, we have an idea. Yes, the expression is wanting to come through and come forth. It will create a guide. That way you don't feel lost and stuck in the chaos. I love that. And it'll show you the direction to go. It'll be like a compass. Okay, so if we want to bring this idea into fruition, the mind map will help us see more about where we're going with this. And my other word here is divine Love that word divine. It's also a word for God, source, universe, all that is, Elohim, whatever you want it to be. There is so much beauty in divinity, and I would say finding the mind map in an idea or finding a mind map in something that wants to be born is an expression of the divine. Because what I see is that this universe operates in divine order. Again, if this is the center of the sun and these are the planets, there is something divinely inspiring them to orbit the sun, right? And orbit each other and do this beautiful dance that they do. So there's some kind of divine, mysterious, lovely expression going on with all creation. And if we want to bring things into creation, mind mapping is a great way to start. So I'm just going to put God. Ooh, I'm going to put the word order again. I'm going to put the word peace again. All right. Notice I use some of the same words over and over and over, because that is what the map is revealing to us. Why do I create mind maps? Aren't peace and order? Oh my gosh, I got order, order, freedom, confidence, map, compass, order, clarity, fun, makes life easier, brings peace. It's divine. So that is a mind map of me teaching mind maps. One of my favorite things to do is when I create content is to create a mind map. Now, AI is pretty amazing. And I could go into an AI tool and be like, hey, give me a bunch of scripts for a bunch of video content. And then I'm going to go on and I'm going to read the teleprompter and I'm going to sound super smart because I'll be tapping into the AI consciousness, which is like this mega beast of consciousness, which was created by humans, but it's like an aggregate. Anyway, you guys know what AI is. Instead of doing that, I am using mind maps for each one of my videos. So say I want to create a video about resistance. So I have a lead magnet on my website right now, and it's about slaying dragons. And each dragon represents a form of resistance. And these forms of resistance get in the way of you creating something amazing, like a business. Actually, I'm going to get the sheet of paper that shows the forms of resistance, and I'm going to pull one up as an example, and then I'm going to explain to you how I would create a mind map around that idea. So hold on one second. Okay. So I wish I had a color printer. I just have a black and white printer because I was working in the insurance industry this year. Hey, I don't do that anymore, thank goodness, because they only need black and white printers and I'm a color person, so that's on my to-do list. Anyway, there's 33, actually I think there's 34, but I like double threes. Forms of resistance that could come up, that will come up. Some of them will come up more than others, and I'll be creating a video about each of these. But if I were to create a mind map around this one, spiritual bypassing, not working because I think visualizing alone brings success. So that is a dragon of resistance. There are a lot of people that I would say are spiritually bypassing. I know it because I went through that phase and I was like, okay, I'm going to create a vision board. I'm going to do the whole law of attraction. I'm going to meditate and I'm going to bring all these amazing things into my world and it's going to be drawn to me like a magnet. Unfortunately, in this reality, the one I know, that doesn't work too well. That is a part of manifestation and it contains all these helpful tools. But what I have found is you have to actually take action, and action requires courage and it requires getting out of your comfort zone. Anyway, so if I were to create a video around spiritual bypassing, not working because, what did I say? I think visualizing alone brings success. This is how I would mind map it. Okay. So we are going to say spiritual bypassing in the middle. Okay. 5 things around spiritual bypassing. I would say number 1, I want to say the law of attraction, just because a lot of people know that term. And I was dazzled by it too. And I would say it's a very important part of my awakening that I appreciate, but it's very incomplete part of awakening. And I feel like it could be a little bit of a trap for some people, unless you wake up to it. So I'm going to put law of attraction. I'm going to say, okay, there also is a lot of training around purifying your mind and mindset. So I'm going to say mindset because I want to talk a little bit more about that. Okay, another one is what I'm going to call solipsism. Solipsism. I don't know if I'm spelling that right. Solipsism is basically where you think you are the center of the universe and everyone outside of you is just an expression of you. And it becomes a very like self-centered, oriented belief set. And people almost think they're not even subject to karma when they believe in this sort of thing. And I do believe good and evil exist. Anyway, so solipsism, I would say, is a form of spiritual bypassing. I'm going to say avoiding shadow work. Oh, shoot, there's a glare. Shadow work. All right, spiritual bypassing, avoiding shadow work. So we'll go into that. Another one is going to be, I'm too good for this. I have met spiritual people that are too pure and too good to do lowly things like build a business, like do the marketing or take care of the finances. Anyway, so we've got 5. So we're going to go in. I do want to use another color and we are going to circle 2, 3, 4, 5, and they are all orbiting around the sun. Law of attraction, spiritual bypassing. Okay, law of attraction. I would say meditating, not doing. I would say fear of action. Because there's a lot of inaction. Okay, yeah, you can make a vision board and you can think about it, but you got to go out there in the real world and take action. Meditating and not doing anything. Mindset. So, spiritual bypassing could be an entirely corrupt program that you're running in your mind. And again, it all goes back to not taking action. Spiritual bypassing is very damaging because it's about standing down. It's about allowing evil to proliferate, or it's about being stuck in the spirit realm and not necessarily manifesting in the physical realm. So basically, I'm just going to put a mind virus. Solipsism, basically, I look at that term as more just like very corrupt religion. Oh, and I would say solipsism is a little bit further on the path of awakening. So it can be very dazzling and enticing, and it can really stimulate the intellect and that desire within us for understanding. So like the philosopher within us. So it's very appealing, and it's one of those that shows up on the path, and some people get stuck in the solipsism cul-de-sac. Ooh, I'm too good for this. How many of us have met people that are too pure or too good for, yeah, doing the necessary tasks of building the business, overcoming all these dragons? Oh, I've already overcome that. I'm too pure. I'm too dialed in. I don't do the burnout fear, right? That's a dragon. Oh, I'm afraid if I work too much, I'm going to burn out. No, you need to get to work. Yes, listen to your body, and yes, stay in balance. But don't make that excuse for not working. Self-loathing. Oh, and the number one on here. I know I'm going down the rabbit hole with the dragons, but the number one, it's the first one for a reason, is distraction. Anyway, distraction's a huge one. Right now, the social engineers, yes, they would love our money, and they're gonna find all these clever ways to try to get it. But their favorite thing right now to steal from us is our attention. So, congratulations on consuming a video that teaches you something cool about mind mapping and organizing information in a divine way. I think you get the idea, so I'm going to roll this to the side. But yes, I would say the social engineers are out there wanting your attention more than anything. And one of the ways that they are getting to me or got to me or get to me sometimes, the cute little baby and toddler videos when they're like saying cute stuff. Oh my gosh, I could consume those videos days, right? They're just so adorable. And also hair videos. I know you can't tell that I did, and actually I really didn't do anything with my hair, but I have a lot of hair, and the algorithms know that I like to learn hair videos. So just so I can figure out what to do with this. I'm trying. I tried the curly girl method. So this is natural waves. So if I have the right haircut and the right routine and the right products, I can actually make my hair look like really amazing and curly naturally. It just doesn't always work consistently. Anyway, social engineers, they know they can get me through the dragon of distraction in many ways. So I want you to look at the different things that come up that might get in the way for you and manifesting your most amazing expression. I hope you learned a bit about mind mapping. I know I was a little scattered. I'm going to blame the coffee and general anxiety, because when you create a video, you do sort of feel like you are on stage. So, sending so much love to you guys. Goodbye.